Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Kona. Welcome. We are so glad you're here today. My name is Sasha, and I'll be on the platform with you today, as long as Rev Deb, and we have Mary Ellen here. We'd like to start today by saying our affirmation of the month. So let's say this together. This new year is filled with greatness.
I accept and receive my good now. I am grateful.
Okay, today's daily word is dynamic. The word dynamic is used to describe someone with an outgoing, energetic personality. The Greek origin of the word dynamis means miraculous power. So in the truest form and sense of the word, those who study and apply truth principles can be considered dynamic. When we tap into truth, we connect with our own miraculous power. We are dynamically alive. Our spiritual power energizes further through prayer and meditation, forgiveness and love. May we see tangible results or simply gain a profound sense of peace. The important thing to remember is this: we are dynamic spiritual beings expressing divine power through our oneness with God. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion." Genesis 1:26. The word is dynamic, and our affirmation for today is, I am a dynamic spiritual being. Together, I am a dynamic spiritual being.
Thank you, Kayla. And now's the time where I invite you to visualize our sanctuary as a beautiful heart, all you dynamic people. So we're going to put that dynamic energy into our heart as we move around through the thrift store, blessing it, blessing every part of our Unity Center, back in our Sunday school, and all the activities we have going on, and to see it be the right and perfect, graceful move that we're making. And so we just see our heart filled with this love, this energy, this spirit that moves us and moves through us. And we allow our heart to be filled right now. And if you know of anyone in need of prayer, see them in our heart. If you have any circumstance in your life or in our world in need of prayer, see them in our heart as we sing the prayer for protection. And now I invite you to get comfortable where you are. Close your eyes if that feels right to you. And we begin our time of centering and prayer by just breathing. We take in a deep breath, that very breath of life that is God. We hold it for a moment. And as we exhale, we begin to relax. Breathing in again deeply. And holding it again for a moment. As we exhale this time, we just quiet our mind. We calm our emotions. And we let go of anything that stands in the way of our being here right now. And once more, breathing in. And holding it briefly. And as we exhale, we rest in the consciousness of our heart. We truly know right here and right now, this is our time of reconnecting with the God of our being, the light, that spirit, that dynamic personality, the essence of God in us. We relax our breath. Allow the experience of truth to fill you. In these moments, we nurture our soul. Our soul nurtures us. We allow every cell in our being to feel alive, to feel healthy, to feel whole. In these moments, this is our time. A time to feel peace. A time to feel harmony. And knowing right here and right now, there is only one presence and one power active in our life and in the universe. God the Good. And that essence of good is in us always. And in any time of stress or change or circumstance, we take a breath and we breathe into our heart and we allow that energy that truly is God in us to fill us. As we go into a time of quiet prayer, truly knowing that God is our source for everything, right here and right now. Know this in a time of silence. I invite you now to take another deep breath. And as we exhale, we relax into this wonderful presence, knowing that God is, and we are grateful for the opportunity to serve and to be right here and right now. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. We appreciate her coming once a month and hanging and playing with us. So how's everyone today?
Wonderful.
Birdie, oh, that was pretty weak. Let's say weak, not lame on YouTube. So how's everyone today?
Great.
That was much better. So you remember, we fake it till we make it. So if you're not so feeling it, you will by the end of the day, right? Or the end of this service. So today, are you all feeling excited about anything? Is anybody happy about anything today? The Broncos are playing at home. I'm kind of happy about that too. That's my other favorite team. Anything else making you happy and feeling good?
I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
Patrick doesn't have to go to work tomorrow. Go Martin Luther King. Corinne, yes.
I rode my bike today.
Yeah, I saw you rode your bike today. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes.
I walked here today. It was it's such a beautiful day, and I'm off work.
She's off work and she walked here today. That's awesome. And if you look around, there's a few empty seats. There's also another game on this morning. We have a little competition with the Seahawks getting whooped, I hear. Yeah, so we pray for them too, right? So it's a blessing every which way. Whoever your favorite teams are, this is a season where, our stiff competition in Kona is outside, and then there's football. So for all of you that are here, you are dynamic, incredible beings, right? Today's our day of being dynamic. But it's also a day that I wanted to talk about in honor of Martin Luther King and all that that represents to many people, and maybe not very much to some people. But we're going to talk about today about the difference between being a servant and a person who is of service. How many of you, I can see your faces, I mean, you're here serving all the time, but how many of you know the difference between that, about being a person who is a servant and being of service? I want you to think about that. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to you to serve? For me, it means I'm happy to do it. It's something that you just feel inside of you that you want to be doing, wouldn't you say? That's what being of service is. And so the dictionary defines it as an act of helpful activity to help or to aid. So you can be of service when someone is in need. When your friend calls and they're down and out and they need you, you will be of service to help them out, wouldn't you? Or someone's on the side of the road, if that's something that you like to do, is help someone change a tire, or maybe you pick up a hitchhiker, I don't know. Whatever it might be that gives you that feeling of being helpful in an activity to someone or something. Even if it is yourself, because we're the people we have to be in service to, for us to grow spiritually. And when we're a servant, the dictionary defines it as a person employed by another, especially to perform domestic duties. Have any of you ever been a servant to anyone or anything? To her dog. Lily's in charge. Lily also got nominated to be on their board of directors for their condo association. Yeah. But when you think about being a servant, have you ever been a servant to a job? Maybe in a relationship? When we are being a servant, it means that we're kind of giving over our power to someone or something. Wouldn't you say? But being of service, it uplifts us. It makes us think, I want to do this. But there's a fine line between being of service and falling into the servant. Wouldn't you say? So I know that's true for me, and especially it's been coming to light because of the thrift store and all the activity. And so have I become a slave to the thrift store at times? Yes. And when I'm there and I'm like, it might be 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and I'm like, Deb, this is enough. Go home. And I remember when I was in insurance, I was working, and we just had our own hours and did all of our own thing. And sometimes it was just like one more thing. Have you ever lived in that one more thing of servitude to someone or something? I got to get this done. Just one more thing, one more thing. And so a few years ago, I made that commitment to myself. I wasn't doing that anymore. I was no longer going to do just one more thing till 2 a.m. to get it done. I was going to be in service to myself. And that's that fine line. Because we can become a slave and a servant to anyone or anything. Wouldn't you agree? We can. We have addictions. I have a food one. Hey, I can become a slave to that sucker in a minute. But now I'm working on my courage over comfort. Remember, Dawn's here to remind me of that. Courage over comfort, because that's what we want to do. And so all of us have had a challenging life, wouldn't you say? Is everybody in this room had difficulties that they had to overcome in their life? So we can't, Tom's raising his hand, we have. And I want you to think back to when you were younger and going through that and thinking you were the only one who had that experience. Do you remember that? I remember thinking, I didn't know anybody who had such a hard life as I did. And then 30 years later at a class reunion, I found out everybody had stuff going on. But what happens when you're young is those thoughts, those beliefs become us. And we become a servant to whatever it is we think is going on. And so we come to new thought, we come to unity, we come to light, and we say, wait, there's more than this. And I want to be in service to myself. And that's like unity's main, besides prayer, is about being in loving service. And most of us do that. Like if someone asks you to do something, you hop up and do it, wouldn't you say? Or you'll think of it in advance before they ask you. And in some 12 steps groups, that's called dysfunction, you know? But we try to work through those issues as well. So we can be of true service to God, to ourselves, our family, and then others. And we work through these events, these activities every single day. And we get to make a choice whether we're going to do it or not. And so I want to share with you a few quotes because I have several of them today. And one I'm going to really share is with Dr. Martin Luther King. But Albert Schweitzer said, I may never know you or what you do, but unless you find a way to love and serve, you're not ever going to be happy. And that's by a very famous man. And whatever your life is, whatever relationship you're in, whatever the job, there's an opportunity in this moment to set your intention and to do it all for the glory of God. However you see God. If God is the ocean, if God is the dolphins, if God is the whales, whatever it might be that brings that feeling of life into you, that comes alive, that's your soul talking to you. How many of you, mine are the sunsets and I love being in the ocean. I also love being in the forest, in the mountains and all that sort of thing. And so wherever it is that calls you to come and have that respite, whatever it might be, it's your soul saying, look, we've become a slave to something. We want to let it go. We want to become that service person and take care of ourselves. You know, when you're a servant to a job or a person or a thing, that you get burnt out. But when you're doing something for the love of God, what happens? You think you can go on forever, wouldn't you say? It's like an Energizer bunny moving forward in life, filled with that experience of wanting to serve. Because in that serving, in service, you feel great about it. Wouldn't you say? You just feel great about being in service. And so we want to do our part, but we get to choose. And that's the fine line that we get to talk about, is being that person that says, yes, it's something I want to do. And I've had to learn through many teachers like Cheryl Richardson. She says, you have a plate of your absolute yes, and you have your plate of your absolute no. And you do the things that make your heart sing. And then you let go of all the things that don't make your heart sing. And we learn to let things dissolve and just to let them go their way. And for me, the thrift store is a big example of that. I knew and was guided when we opened it. I just knew it was something we needed to do. And I was willing, totally willing in my heart of hearts to make it be successful. And everyone here has helped make it be. We had our mission statement that we were going to be the best thrift store in Hawaii, not just on this big island, but in Hawaii. And it's proof by all the people who love us and tell us. We had a lady this week, she says, I never saw you and now you're leaving. And she bought a ton of stuff. And the ones that, that's where you know you've done good works. And did we want to stop washing clothes at times? Any of you who did laundry? Yes. Did your washing it going? But then most of the time when we took it home and we looked at it, it was like, this is so cute. This is so junk. This is so cute. This is great. This would be good for so-and-so. We all did that for each other. So we were in service, and it became fun. But when we became a slave to a truckload of 21 bags of laundry, questioning the source there, but we still did it. Did we give away a lot? We still are to this day. That's why we want you to go and pick what you want, because you've been of service with us. And so when we opened the thrift store, it was a beautiful thing. And it has served us. And then the guidance was coming, it's time to close. And I was like, how are we going to do that? There was change and change and change, and we didn't know. And then it was made really clear. You're not going to have anywhere to have your thrift store, so you need to close. And every one of us is gathering together and making it happen. We're clearing it out. And people say, how are you going to get rid of all this stuff? One day at a time. And we're allowing people to, hey, you need it. We're giving away baby clothes to these little, tiny little preemies that came in this week. And I said, does she have everything she needs? And her mom said, no. I said, take whatever you want. And she was in the back nursing in our massage room. It was a beautiful thing. It was Renee, you were there that day, right? And this baby was, 5 pounds? Little, teeny tiny, was born at 3 pounds. And she survived. It's like, did my heart go out and want to help her and be of service? You betcha. So we found her a place where she could have quiet because her baby was not happy. And then we had her mom go through all the clothes and take whatever they needed. Any blankets, anything. And so it's like, that's what this is about. That spirit of being in service. And so that's the joy of our ministry. And the thrift store has done it. And now it's come to a close. What's next in our future? Any of you know? We know there's going to be something, right? We get to stay here for now. That's a great thing. I don't think I'd want to move both places at one time. Would you? Okay, God's listening, because it's not happening. So we want to continue to move forward in what we're doing and to be brave and dynamic, as today's daily word said. And so I want to share with you, this was Dr. Martin Luther, part from his last Sunday sermon that he did in February before he was assassinated. And he took it in part from, it was called the drum major instinct. And he was a drum major, and he wanted to talk about things. And I want you to think about if he knew maybe what might be happening in his life. And he said, if any of you are around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. And you're supposed to say yes, because it has all of the congregants' comments during his talk. And every now and then I wonder what I want them to say. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the war question. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. And I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things that will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. but I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I want to say. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my life will not have been in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christianaut, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrought, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, then my living will have not been in vain. Yes, I want to be on your right side. I want to be on your left side, Jesus, not for any selfish reason. I want to be on your right or your left, not in terms of some political kingdom or ambition, but I just want to be there in love and justice and in truth and in commitment to others so that we can make of this world a new world. And many of you may not have ever heard that part of his last sermon in February, 2 months before he passed away. And to know that he stood for so much more than we know. And we honor and celebrate him this day. Today we do it in Kona. And it's tomorrow, and some people celebrate and some people don't. But he lived a life that he wanted to make a difference. And that he knew he served God and he served others. And that is what we want to do in these moments. And to allow that sense of slavery and that sense of servitude to be gone. It is a powerful, powerful thing. And I know because, many of you may or may not know, but I'm from a mixed marriage. My parents had to get married in Mexico because it was illegal to get married in the state of California in 1945. My dad was black, my mom was white. And my mom was brave. I didn't know how brave she was till I did her memorial. And I heard all these people say what a wonderful woman she was. The oldest of 8 children, and she took care of most of them. And she took care of all these people I never knew she helped in her life until they got up and spoke for her. And to know what she went through to bring her children into this world and wanting a better life for them. And so we moved from East 14th Street in Oakland. And I went to, I didn't know prejudice. I didn't know that I was different until we moved into a white community. And then it was like, uh-oh. I ducked down when my stepfather, who was also black, was driving the car. And learning that we weren't welcome. The only house my mother could purchase in Alamo was a house that was previously owned by black people. And the neighbors were black. And this is in my lifetime, in the 60s. It wasn't that long ago. And there's still those issues that are here today. We want a new world where we don't have that prejudice. And you don't know when you walk into a room that you're different than everybody else. I loved it. Sometimes people thought I came from Hawaii. That was the happiest comment I ever had in my life. Because my grandmother used to come here. And I always wanted to be in Hawaii. And something called me here. Because this is a melting pot. And people don't care what the color of your skin is. And so that's a beautiful thing. And I fit right in the minute I came. Because people thought, are you Portuguese? What you got going on? What, are you Hawaiian? It's like, does it matter? Does it truly matter what the color of our skin is? But the content of our character is what we live by. Thank you, everyone.